Who knows?
It is a terrible thing when brother takes up arms against brother. The lands in the south run red with the blood of kings and their kin, whilst to the north the winds carry the bitter chill of war. Winter is coming, say the Starks, but they say nothing of the tempest that already dwells within their lands, a storm centuries in the making. Summer will end soon enough, and childhood as well. A sister lost, a brother returned, a family changed. In a time of turmoil, can they trust their allies? Can they trust their family? The North remembers, and the children of House Braddock cannot forget.
Such a good trailer.
Hell yes. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to For the North, which is our Song of Ice and Fire Sword Chronicle system RPG, which is made by the lovely folks at Green Ronin. But today we are here with the lovely, lovely people of House Braddock, who are now split across the north of Westeros, with Lyneth, Brolin, and Riona at Winterfell, leaving behind Nymor and Brynden to take care of Greenwall Keep. The twins have been separated for the first time in ever, I think, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
There has been some traveling here and there, but you know.
Yeah, there's been some.
But before we get into the inevitable heartbreak and destruction of House Brolin, let's go around and just say who we are and who we're playing today. Johnny, hello, friend.
Hello, peoples, and Susie, and the rest of my lovely cast here. I am Johnny Blams. I will be playing Brynden Braddock. Last episode, we saw Brynden have a dream of green sight, which we'll be furtherly exploring and diving into today. To give a few words on Brynden, he's a character that's kind of looking for his purpose and has these creepy dreams and hopefully not terrible, treacherous things our lovely GM decides to give to us. He's kind of just finding his corner of the sky right now. He wants to prove himself to the rest of his family and to the Lords of Westeros that Brynden Braddock's a good guy and he means business.
Radical. We'll see how well that holds up after today's session, but moving on down to the lovely Shauna. Hi, Shauna.
Hey! I am honest, I am afraid. Because every time I've had a romance in one of these games, it has gone down in horrific flames. And I'm terrified. And yeah, I'm Shauna Flanksters, and I am playing Riona Braddock, the youngest of the twins, the youngest of the Braddock children, who this is her first big trip outside of their ancestral home, and is hoping to maybe bolster the family's image, help out where she can, maybe.
We'll see. And yeah, Shauna, I just realized, your romances have never gone particularly well in Game of Thrones, have they? But luckily, Lord Roland Manderley is a sweet young boy, so you're going to be fine. But moving across one to Shauna's left, we have the wonderful Bill of the Forest. Hello, my friend.
Hello. See, I don't understand why everyone's talking all this doom and gloom, because I'm pretty optimistic about our potential here in the North. We've got, a good, strong-looking lord. We've got a lady of the house who is super well-versed, and Riona is going to, tie us to some very, very strong political options. As long as those flints from Flint's finger don't show up, I think everything's gonna be great. So I'm optimistic. We have a lot of stuff going in our direction. So, yeah. Yeah. That's my vibe today,
Cool.
y'all.
Yeah, I mean, why would the Flint show up to the north where every northern lord has been called? They're probably not going to
Right.
come. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
especially not expecting anything, you know.
All right, move on over to the lovely Prax. Hi, how's it going? I can't speak today. I'm so sorry.
It's all good. I'm thinking things will be fine. I don't know. I mean, like, I may have been posting certain gifs from certain favorite movie of all time about Lyneth's reaction to the Starks, because Patrick Swayze is a perfect statement for Lyneth's mood right now.
Because who would put the lovely Lyneth in a corner?
And not just Lyneth. And there was Riona. And, that Lady Karstark, whose husband died supporting Brandon's brother. I'm feeling like somebody didn't get a memo. Like, there were memos that were not meant.
Yeah, no, there's surely a mix-up. But, if you ask to speak to the manager, I'm sure they can resolve this issue for you.
Sometimes you have to do that. It is an appropriate response. Sometimes.
No, sometimes it is. And this is one of those times. Thank you for the donation, Bash. From what it looks like in chat, looks like a bane for one Johnny Blams. So we'll see how that is going to pay out later on. But before we get there, hello, Trooper.
Hello. At first I was afraid, I was petrified, but I kept thinking that maybe there'd be like Flints by our side, but now I'm thinking, no, it'll be fine. Everything is going to be totally fine because Queen Lizzo is the first of her name and everything will be great. I'm sure. Also, Brynden and I are at the castle, so it'll be fine. I'm Trooper SJP, and I am pleased and honored to be playing Maester Nymor, who is a Maester, the Maester for House Braddock, has been here for about 5 years. He is from Dorne. When you're a Maester, you give up your last name, of course, but it's Martell. And he is in just in case you're curious, and he is the young Maester, about 25, here in the Braddock lands, and he is committed to the family, and I'm very excited to be here. And I'm pretty certain that back at Greenwall Keep, it'll just be parties. It'll be like risky business with just like running around, singing songs, wearing socks, and everyone will have a good time.
Yeah. And look, don't forget, Nymor isn't just a Maester. He's a cool Maester. He sits on chairs
cool
backwards.
Maester.
If there was a Westerosi, cap, he'd wear it backwards. He's,
He's the person that if you were going to leave your child alone for a long weekend or 2 weeks, he's totally the person you want supervising them to keep them out of trouble. He's exactly the one.
He is the terrible babysitter in an 80s movie. So last week, Lord Brolin Braddock was summoned to court and had to make the decision of who he was going to bring with him and who he was going to leave behind to mind Greenwall Keep. He decided that Lyneth, his wife, and Riona, his sister, would be coming with him, and that Brynden would stay behind to run the castle and protect the people of the lands of House Braddock. Upon arriving at Winterfell, their arrival was not quite as heralded as perhaps Lady Lyneth was used to in the south, as they were kind of just escorted into the grounds and shown an area in the within the walls of the castle to pitch their tents and make their camp. They had no accommodations within the castle itself. And when it came to the feast, they were put at the edge on a table close to the servants' entrance, away from anyone who is anyone within Winterfell right now. But nonetheless, the Lord Brynden Stark stood up and made his speech. He spoke of how the Skogosi had killed his brother in a skirmish, as well as a few other notable northern lords, and that he had sworn to the people of the north that the Skogosi invaders would not reach any further, and that the last hearth, though it is close to falling, would not fall on his watch. And that is kind of where we left Lyneth, Brolin, and Riona for the moment at that castle. Meanwhile, back at Greenwall Keep, Brynden had a very interesting dream where he was inhabiting the body of a fisherman in a small village that he later would learn the name of was Wayhaven. And he was an older man, just living a quiet life in a village, when raiders began attacking, and he watched his daughter be cut down in front of him, and before him stood a tall, broad, imposing figure wielding a terrible axe, and behind the axe was a set of piercing green eyes. He awoke with a start, as in his dream he was swiftly killed. And while Brynden was pondering upon that, Maester Nymor was in his room, having a quiet, sorrowful evening, thinking of everything and everyone that he has lost, when the maid Winifred came in, bearing a small gift that she had found in the castle's solar. It appeared to be a seal's tooth that had been carved with the Martell sun, and within it a sea wolf. And she gave it to Maester Nymor, and he once more was reminded of everyone and everything he had lost. And that is where we're gonna pick up things. The morning after, as Brynden awakes from his dream, we cut to him. And sorry, Johnny, before you cut in, thank you, Pope, for that boon for Brolin.
Is that good? Boon is good?
Boon is good, Bane is bad.
Of course. That's how we're starting off today. Makes sense. Excellent. Love it. So yeah, I think with Brynden being the child left home alone, he would go look for his cool maester friend Nymor. Probably rather clammy and rather sweaty from this nightmare he's had. So he would get up from bed and start looking for Maester Nymor. You said it's the morning after, right? It's not like directly after. Okay,
No,
cool.
Yeah.
Roger.
So it's the next morning. What time do you wake up, young Lord Braddock? Are you a early riser or a late riser?
I think actually Brynden would be a pretty early riser because he has his own little bow boy training regiment. He's always waking up bright and early and putting a bunch of arrows into dummies before first dawn. So he's probably well accustomed to being awake this early. Typically he doesn't have terrifying dreams of being murdered as an old fish guy, but it's still another early morning for Brynden Braddock. Where would you be, Maester Nymor?
Right. How early exactly, though, is I'm just asking, like, how early is Brynden up?
In equivalent our time, I would probably say like 7:02 to be exact.
Okay. Yeah. Nymor's not awake yet. Nymor doesn't wake up late, but like he's not going to wake up at 7. Like he wakes up at like 8, so he can be ready for all of his work at 9. But he's not waking up at 7. That's early. And it's also really cold up north, as opposed to like if it were warmer, maybe I'd wake up, maybe a little bit earlier. But like 7's a little excessive. So you would probably find him in his cell up with the rookery, is what I would say. Not yet awake. At 7, no.
Excellent. I enjoy the starting of the scene. So I picture Brynden, sorry, all the B names getting mashed up today. He would probably find you at his cell and knock on your stone entranceway.
Brynden? One moment.
He's just
And there's
sleeping.
just like you hear like shuffling, right? As he sort of gets himself up and sort of puts himself together and then comes to the door. It's like, is everything all right?
No.
Oh, it's cold.
I had another dream.
Oh, come in. Have a seat. And you see him like push. The room is not. It's disorganized, right? Normally the room is there's like Nightmare has like a range of disorganization, and it's mostly organized-ish for the most part. Like if you would normally walk into Nymore's cell, you'd like the rooks would be there, and all of the ravens are taken care of impeccably. Everything's clean, but there's usually like his big study desk is usually a tad bit of disarray with like things like papers and scrolls and things he's sort of left open. He's not that person that leaves his desk completely clean. But what I would say is today that sort of low level of slight disorganization is much higher level, in that his clothes, which he almost always puts, like he has like his stuff all put away, everything's very nice. There's just like a lot of things that are kind of a bit like thrown on a chair here or there. There's just like a little sense of out of sortness in his room itself. Like it's not like a pigsty or anything like that, but there's just a bit of an out of sortness. He normally puts things that are not his books away, and some of these things are not put away.
Gotcha.
Oh, please come in. And he takes like one of the sort of heavy like cloaks that you would take when you were traveling, right? That he'd had on the day before because they had traveled. He takes that off of the chair and he puts it on his bed, and he sort of scoots the chair out for you. And then as you're like, he's going to assume you're going to sit, and as he's looking around, he gets like a flagon of probably something weak that you could drink, which means it's probably going to be alcoholic because water is no deal. So it's probably like a really watered down sort of a beer or an ale that he sort of pours for you. Warm, like it's the Winterfell, so it's probably not that warm, right? And he sort of pours this out for you, and he sort of gives you a slight cup. Please sit. What was the dream?
Well, I was in some town called Wayhaven, I think, and I wasn't me. I was older. I had these wrinkly hands and a beard that wasn't my own, and I wasn't myself anymore. And
Wayhaven, that's on the coast. We have been there in our travels a year or two ago, perhaps. This was the place where there was an old woman who was a fisherwoman. I think she made a rope, and she told us this story. If you remember, she told us the story of the weeping woman who wails when ghost story about the weeping woman. She wails, she's missing her children, and if you hear her wailing, then you are surely bound to die. You remember this story?
Slightly, sure. But I wasn't myself, and then I had a daughter, and she walked me out onto this dock, and then we were on a beach, and there were dozens of raiders, Nymor, and they walked up to me, and they killed this daughter I had, and then this man with an axe slayed me.
Was this do you have a sense of this was the past or the future? Or perhaps contemporaneous? Do you think there's a raid going? Do you have a sense of when it? Think about their clothes or any sign of perhaps when this dream was.
I didn't sense any familiarity with the time, Nymor, but when I looked into the man's eyes right before I woke up, his eyes were like mine.
The eyes of the man you were. The man that you were, the old man.
No, the man that slayed me and my daughter. He wielded a great axe, and I don't know what to make of it anymore.
Wait, a raider was with Braddock green eyes, you say?
I think so, yes.
Okay, one moment. And Nymer's going to go through his books because he has chronicles, right, of the as the person who has until recently been the steward of Greenwall Keep and having to sort of note what's happening in the lands, he's going to go through his records to see, because there are regular raids on Braddock lands. He's been here for 5 years, and he also has the books from previously. He's going to look through for reports of raids from Wayhaven to sort of see like when these raids could, like when they could have been, and he's going to especially look for, well, he's going to have to get the book right before his. He's going to want to look for raids that happened within the last 8 years forwards. Well, between 8 years ago and 2 years ago.
Okay.
So that's 6-year time frame.
I gotcha. I would like you to roll me a knowledge research for this. And while you're doing that, I just want to give a huge shout out to Ghosts, Bash, Pope, everyone that's having the sub war right now in chat. Thank you all so much. So much. You are all incredible. Big love to our wild fam who have shown out today.
Yes. And I'm specifically going for this. It's like a very specific time frame. Mm-hmm. Well, technically, just to be safe, I will go 10 years, but not the last two. So starting, so the end point is 2 years ago, and then the starting point is, let's say, 10 years earlier, maybe 11. Although he does not think there'll be any reports of this within the first 4 years. Thinking of the knowledge that he knows, he suspects it'll be within the last 6 of that 10-year span, just in case.
Okay.
And this is research that he has done before for reasons.
Okay, I mean, you got a 19, which is so close to like a heroic success. Like this is very good. So you are scouring through your reports. You had been specifically collating reports, I think, regarding raids and things, especially once Ragnar and Agatha had spoken to you regarding, a certain someone and their disappearance. Yep. And you find a record of a particularly brutal raid from about 4.5 years ago, in which almost everyone in Wayhaven was slain. The only reason that people knew a raid had occurred here is that a small boy had managed to run. And he had run and run for days until he was found by someone on the road, and he reported what had happened. And upon arrival, you'd found that the town of Wayhaven was almost completely burnt to the ground, and the corpses were just left in the streets.
Brynden, I'm sorry. Young Lord Braddock, did you see any symbols on the clothing or the shields, helmets of the raiders? At all, did you see any heraldry or iconography?
No, Naimor, not that I can remember. I there were so many of them. I just remember the children screaming and hard-boiled black leather. That's the best I can remember.
Tell me, did any of them wear metal armor? Boatmen wearing metal armor. Was that perhaps also the leaders, most important ones?
It all happened so quick, Naimor. No, I don't think anyone was wearing full armor or anything like that, no.
Well, and it's one of those things where he's looking at his papers, but it's also clear that he doesn't need to look at them because he already knows what's there. He was just sort of double checking some things. Could this have been, let me see. And he just sort of looks at the dates. Was the weather this season, was it fall? when you think of the time.
It was warm. I don't think it was fall. It might have been summer. I can't really tell, Naimor. It happened so fast. It was I awoke. I was in some random hut. I went out. I talked on a dock, and then all of a sudden, everyone I can see is being murdered.
Do you have a name? A name of the people? Anyone?
I don't think I gave you any names, but it's no good asking me. I don't fucking remember.
I think the daughter. I think we had a name for the daughter, but I did not write it down. It was like a T name, maybe?
Was it a T?
There was a name for the person you were because one of the other fishermen called you by name.
Yes.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like Eric or something.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go with Eric. You were Eric.
I believe my friend who told me I lived there for, I think, he said 20 years or something. His name was Eric? Something or another?
And Naimor goes through his documentation, and in the documentation, I think what he has is a list of everyone who died in all of these raids. It's one of the things where the people of the Braddock lands, like their names are being remembered. And so I think he would have a list of all those who died. And he would check that one particular raid that he had gotten reports on, that he had been sort of looking at. He'd check that list, the list of the names of the villagers, and he'd look for an Eric to see if there is one there.
And there is.
Young Lord Braddock, do you remember anything about this man's face? I want you to think carefully. I want you to think about facial hair. Did he have a beard? His nose, his eyebrows. I want you to concentrate right now. I want you to think yourself back in this dream. Close your eyes. Think yourself back in this dream, and I want you to imagine this man's face. Concentrate.
Okay.
Tell me who you see. Describe this face in every detail.
I remember looking into a bowl of water, and I saw his face briefly throughout the ripples, and he had a longer gray beard. Not a lot of hair on the top of his head, but more on the side.
No. The face of the man with the eyes, with the axe. His face.
And how much does Brynden actually remember of Axe Marauder's face?
So I imagine it kind of like, in like cartoons where the figure is mostly shadow except the glowing eyes, because it's a dream, right? But there was something familiar about the shape, like the silhouette of this figure seemed familiar to you, even though you couldn't see a face, only the eyes.
Okay, Naimor. I can't say I have a full description of what he looked like, but he... Do you ever meet someone and feel as though you've met them before, Naimor? He felt familiar to me, like I'd met him, or like we were friends, or maybe you've rode together, something. But I just remember his axe and his eyes like mine.
Well, so...
Are green eyes common in the north, Naimor?
No. Well, green eyes perhaps, but not Braddock green eyes. That is exclusive to your family. Only Braddocks have eyes like this, or as is said in myth, children of the forest also have eyes of that color, but a different shape. There is a story. No, I will not distract myself now. But there are stories of same color of the children of the forest, but this is something exclusive to the Braddocks, and you know that your brother was missing for a long time.
Yes.
Thought dead. Thought lost, drowned in the raid, the Ironborn raid. You were young when he left. You were 2 years old, I think. This was 12 years ago. So yeah, I know you would have been 5. So you were 5. You and Riona, young lady Braddock, were both 5 when your brother was died, thought dead, and you know well that he was not dead, and you know the story we told the people in these lands. Your lady mother and your sister, Lady Ragna, we told the people the story that they needed to hear so that they would accept Lord Brolin back into the heart of Greenwall. We told them, of course, as you know, that he was kidnapped by the Ironborn and that he was held prisoner and it was terrible and he was kept on ships, made to see the raids happening and he could do nothing about it. And then one day, heroically, he gets out of the ship and he saves the people of a small fishing village. And, but then he's drawn back into the ship and there's nothing we can do and it's so terrible. But then, the heroic mission by your older sister to save him, the oldest brother, House Braddock, that she goes out into the sea to save him on our way down to get Lady Lyneth. And in this brave moment, she is struck down to save your brother. And in her dying words, she says to him, what did I say? She says to him, Brolin, you must carry on. You must lead our family to the future. I make this sacrifice for you. That's the story we tell. And then, of course, he is now the brave hero back, and we all love him. But that is not the true story. The true story is that we thought him dead, but say 5-7 years ago, maybe about 5 years ago, about the time I arrived, there had been stories. The Ironborn have been raiding us ever since that, ever since the Age of Heroes, longer. They have been raiding our family this long, and they raid again always. We have a lot of territory and not a lot of militia. And there were always these stories of raids, but these stories were different because they were stories of a raider, an Ironborn raider with Braddock green eyes, wading through and murdering villagers. And no one should have those eyes of the Ironborn. And your mother, she's so brilliant, so always so smart. She recruited salt wives, made a network of these women who see everything but no one speaks to. And she put out word, and your older sister Ragna, she also used her skills, as did I, to sending off ravens, everything we could do to perhaps find out if this raider was your brother. And he was your brother. We learned where he was. We delivered letters to him to let him know that we knew he was alive and that we would get him, we would save him. He had to only hold out hope. It was a long 3 years. We needed a good opportunity to take our ships down towards the Ironborn lands and save him. The Blackfire Rebellion was a good opportunity to bring him back, but Brynden, the reports indicate that he was raiding the village and villages, many of them, and that's Wayhaven. It's where it was one of those villages that had there were reports. The man that you were as Eric, he was killed. Everyone in that village was killed. All of the people there were killed, except for one boy who survived. He was young and he snuck out and he ran miles. He was found, I think perhaps Providence. You know, this family is strong with prophecy. Some border guards are patrol. They found him. They brought him back here, and we nursed him back to health. And he told what he saw, and he saw so much pain, so much death. A young boy that age should not see that. But he also saw a raider with the green eyes, and the young lad, I think, may even be in the keep still. He had no other village to go back to. The whole place was burned to the ground. Everyone was dead. But I think the boy may still be here.
Naimo, if you knew who my brother was, then why did you agree to help rescue him? He's a murderer.
Brynden, I am a maester. I am my own kind of maester, perhaps, but I am a maester, and we as maesters, we are bound. It is, I think, for me, the most important vow that you take as a maester is that you vow that you serve the house. You serve the house where you are stationed. And it is my duty to serve this house. And saving your brother is the duty of this house. And I would... Yes. And it is what your mother wanted. It is what Ragnar wanted, and you do not leave a Braddock behind. We don't know what the circumstances were that led to him doing these things. He was also young. He was young when he was taken. He was, it was 12 years ago, so he would have been 13. He was 13 when he was taken. That is young to be kidnapped and taken away from his home. And for how many years did he not know where... if we did not know he was alive, perhaps he had no hope that he would ever be rescued. And I don't know what his life was like. I know it must have been difficult. I do not know how much choice he had in the actions that he did. But I do know that we are not the masters of our own fate. There is powerful prophecy that is running through this family's history, going back to the Dawn Age, when the Braddocks and the Children of the Forest, I think about, from the beginning, the founding of the house, where the Selkie Ragnar, the brave brother, fall in love, and the other line, the beginning of the line, you are a very mystical family, and I do not know if what happened to your brother was all foretold thousands of years ago by Og the Seer, and if so, then how much choice did the Lord Braddock have? He may have had no choice.
You always taught me there always is a choice, Naimo. He could have chosen to die. He could have chosen to leave. He could have fled. But I watched him cut down what was apparently Eric's daughter, and then me, and it didn't look like it was by forced will. Nymor. You said a Braddock is never left behind. It looked like an Ironborn to me.
Well, Brynden, you have a special part to play in history. This I know. You have the green sight, and this is something that has not been seen for generations. You wonder what your place is, but you have a place. I don't know always what it is, but these dreams that you have, these visions, your place in a prophecy, makes you important. But we do not know how to interpret the prophecy. That signs are unclear, that is vague. And if your brother is the drowned wolf from this prophecy, then we must support him, because as the prophecy says, when the drowned wolf, the returned drowned wolf, marries the winter rose, then the salt tree will bloom again. And this salt tree is not only our Weirwood Tree, the heart of the Braddock family, but it is symbolic of the rising of our fortunes. If your brother is this drowned wolf, then we cannot undermine him in any way. He may have had this history, but if Ok the Seer from thousands of years ago was seeing him and Lady Lyneth, then we must support him. If he is not the drowned wolf, if the drowned sea wolf, if he is not the drowned sea wolf, if the drowned sea wolf is if the drowned sea wolf is you, then it is a different situation. But we do not know. We do not know which brother it is that is the drowned sea wolf. So we must act as if both could be true. Support both sides until the prophecy makes itself clear. We cannot act against the prophecy, even if we do not yet know if it is you or your brother who is the one who is to bring this family back to its great heights.
All right then, Nymor. I think I'm gonna go take a walk.
You have thought in your head. You have to tell me.
No, I'm just a little confused, is all.
I know.
Nothing,
Listen,
nothing to worry about.
No, listen, whatever you do, you must not undermine your brother. Listen to me. If it is a prophecy, the prophecy will take care of itself. You should not do anything against your brother. And I understand this must be terrible to be killed in a vision, but we do not know what they did to him. We do not know what they did to him. It may have been torture or terror. We do not know. We must give him the benefit. And he is married to Lady Lyneth, who is quite dear to me. And Brynden, before you go, I know you want to walk, maybe shoot things with your bow. But listen to me, this is very serious. Your sister, and tears start to sort of form on his eyes a little bit. Your sister gave her life for him. It was all that she wanted was to bring him back. Your mother dedicated also years to bring him back. They both did. Your sister is dead now because she believes so strongly that he had to be rescued, and it would be a dishonor of their memory and all the work they did to do anything to undermine his position here as Lord Braddock. It is the will of your sister. Lady Ragnar died for him, and we cannot let that her death be in vain. We cannot let all the planning that your mother made with me and with her, all of the plots and all the plans we made to bring him back, we cannot let that go. We cannot make that be in vain. If the prophecy wills it, then so it is, but that is not our place to make that decision. Do not let the prophecy tell us what will be.
Okay, Nemo. I can do that. And with that, he takes his leave and turns and exits the disheveled room of unorganized mess.
All right. As you do so, and you have a moment of quiet to contemplate what has been said, Naimor, a couple of minutes pass before there is a call at your window, and a raven appears with a small scroll attached to its leg.
This whole time, he didn't see it, but I was holding in my fists the scrimshaw, the seal's tooth. And I walk over to the bird, and I smile at it, and I just sort of stroke its head a little bit. I go, yeah, which one are you? I see you. I know you. Scarlet, this is what I name you, because you are not red. So dark. Come, let me see what you have. Come, let me see. And I take the little scroll off.
Scarlet hops over, the little head inquisitively, turns to look at you. It's a beautiful raven, a well-tended to raven. And she offers you her leg as you take the scroll from it. And you can see there is sealed on it, not an official house emblem that you would be familiar with, but something that looks like a dagger that has blood dripping from it. But instead of blood drops, it looks like petals.
Do I know this seal? Do I know this heraldry?
You've never seen this before in your life.
Strange. As I'm opening it, I'm looking at the raven. Scarlet. Scarlet, tell me the name. Who is the most beautiful woman in all the North? Come on, say the name. Say the name. Say the name, Scarlet.
And she just sort of tilts her head at you and blinks a couple of times. She's holding out on you.
I look around and I find like a little scrap of actually good food, not bird food, but actual good food. And I toss it to Scarlet. Come on, we practiced for years. Please tell me, come on.
She gobbles it up and she gives you a sassy look. If birds can be sassy, she's sassy at you. And she's starting to fidget and get a little bit weird. She's restless.
I open up the scroll. I'm like, you know the name is Ragnar. And I read the scroll.
And you see the text on the scroll. It says, I've heard you've been looking for me. And then signed underneath is no name, but it says, beware my thorns.
Oh, Scarlet, where did you come from? Who sent you back to me? Who was it? Don't say Ragnar now.
It's at this point she says Ragnar.
Scarlet, I see you. This will need research. Someone. There may be another Rose here in the north. And Nymor's going to go through. Nymor's going to go down to the cellars and start looking through old scrolls and texts, looking to see if there are older signatures. So he's going to sort of spend quite a bit of the day deep in the dank cellars below Greenwall Keep, seeing if he can identify this heraldry.
And as you head down the stairs from your tower, because all good maesters live in a tower, the camera pans to a staircase in Winterfell as we follow a servant. Like, the camera does a really nice, sexy cut between him going down and a servant also, Winterfell, coming down bearing a plate full of food as he enters the hall and places it at the table in front of Lyneth, Brolin, and Riona. What are you up to at this present point? The speech from Lord Brynden has been delivered. Well, speech, being a northerner, he's a man of few words. And conversation in earnest has begun around the hall. The food is being served, the ale is being poured, there's wine available. Surprisingly, they've even got some Arbor Red up here. Like, they have spent money.
Lyneth is going to be very polite, and she's going to ask the servant's name as they set things down.
And the servants are all like, "Oh, don't worry about me, milady," and they're like very, very pleasant, but trying to be like, "Don't get me involved."
Oh, no. She's not going to get them involved. She's just starting. She's going to make sure that she's going to make sure she remembers all the servants' names, everything about them, because she's polite and courteous.
They've got, like typical peasant names, like John and Jane and Frederick and, that kind of names you would associate with those that are lowborn. There are a couple of like Brandons and stuff, as their families have clearly named them for Starks that have come before.
Yeah, she's tracking who's who, making them all of the connections, and being polite as she sees them.
Of course. And they give you, they're not being like, "Don't talk to me," but they're trying to be as professional as possible. They've got 1 million people to attend to today. And they are being polite and courteous, but they're like kind of like, "Yep, cool, thanks, right, bye." And then they dash off to do something else. But your politeness is well received, and you get a couple that return to your table to ask you, if you would like anything else, if there's anything they can assist you with, that kind of thing. When you treat a member of serving staff like they're a human being, and then they want to come back to talk to you, it's that.
This is my PSA moment. Please remember to treat all of your retail and wait staff appropriately. Also make friends with all of your secretaries, security guards, and janitors. That will help you in life. And she would also, at the second time somebody came back to ask, she would just like, "Oh, I was just wondering, who's acting as Chatelaine for the good Lord Stark?"
And this is one of the Brandons, a young lad who can't be more than 16. He points up to the table where you can see Lord Stark is with his other men there, and he points to Lord Rufus Cowan. That's the one, my lady. Lord Rufus.
Well, just very intriguing. Much unexpected. Definitely explains things. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, my lady. Is there anything else I can get for you?
I would love some tea. Riona, are you feeling well? Do you need some tea as well?
No, I'm perfectly fine. I'm perfectly content with everything here. Yes. Oh, yes. She'll get the look and be like, "Yes, I'll also have some tea, please." I think she's very excited. I think she's very excited to be talking. I think she momentarily forgot.
That is such a look that my mum has given me in the past when we're trying to leave somewhere. She's like, "You're tired, aren't you? Let's go home."
Yeah.
I
think she definitely made the eyes like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I
And Brynden has kind of picked up on the look and is like, I'll bring the tea as soon as I can, my lady. I'll be right back."
Thank you, Brynden. I do appreciate it.
And he scurries off, and he kind of looks at Riona like, "Oh," that look that kids give each other when they know the other's in the shit. He gives you that kind of look as he dashes past. Roland, what are you up to in the midst of this?
Eyes and she meets her eyes and then just like looks back, like she acknowledged the look, but doesn't just like trying not to acknowledge it.
Brolin, if you can imagine, he's looking around, but also he's primarily focused on his eating. So those that are around him from 2 years ago to now will notice that he's put on some weight. Being a lord, you have a lot of good food that you didn't have beforehand. So he's a little bit heartier. So he's enjoying this food. He's enjoying this drink, but he's also looking around to see who else is enjoying the drink. Anybody that's getting raucous, anybody that's, downing one after another, as he's continuing to drink his and trying to lock eyes with folks at other tables who seem to be enjoying themselves a lot.
Okay, yeah. So obviously your cousin Eric Mormont is here, and he's keeping pace with the drinks. He's a Mormon. That's what they do. And you can see across, there's a lot of the men at arms here who have been given pretty decent seats. Actually, it's clear that they are valued in Lord Stark's court, especially some of the higher like captains and people that would be in charge of his forces and the forces of the houses he's allied with are given pretty decent seats here, and they are carousing, they are drinking, they're having a great time. And there's seemingly like no interference from their lords here. Like they're not being told to pipe down and like shut their faces. They're like, there's no sort of, they're being allowed to just be soldiers right now. But you can see that other lords that seemingly are quite relaxed here. You can see the Lord Flint is seemingly very relaxed. He is an older man with disheveled, sort of dirty blonde hair, who is dressed quite finely, but he is clearly relaxed. So his like lace at the top of his neck that keeps his tunic closed is like pulled open a little bit. He's kind of flopped back in his chair and he's given it some of this. And he is currently talking to Lord Reed. And who else is with them right now? There is a lady there with them who you are not familiar with at present, but she is there, and she's seemingly giving it as good as they're giving it. She is kind of one of the ladsing it here, though she's still got that Westerosi lady proprietary going on. But she's giving them drink for drink. And they are quite a rowdy table, just the three of them having a discussion right now.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else is enjoying their drink, but they are not necessarily overindulging.
Can I tell which Flint? Flint of...
Judging... Flint of... Freak. The one that you hate.
Okay, Flint's finger.
Flint's finger, that's the one.
The one who, that one.
And then can we recall the name of the Lord's son?
The Lord's son, he was, I don't think we ever officially gave him her name, so let's hit our little random name generator and see what we get. Oh. Bump it a couple of times.
I feel like
Rufus.
I feel like Riona. Rufus? Okay. Right.
No, wait, I already have a Rufus. Forget Rufus.
Okay.
Arthur.
We're getting Rufus. Alistair?
Arthur Flint. Lord Arthur Flint
Okay.
is the one that was due to marry Riona. His father is John. And you can guess that this is Lord John.
Okay. He'll kind of lean in Lyneth's direction. Well, as drinks start pouring, it's an environment I feel comfortable in, as you will know. I've got my eye on that table over there.
Give it about another 20 minutes.
Right.
Give it about another 20 minutes and somebody will make a reason for you to actually go over there.
Fair.
Maybe 10.
Fair. Anyone else you'd like me to speak to this evening?
Oh no, Riona and I and Lady Karstark are going to get to know each other very well, and then we might be having a conversation with Lord Rufus. I totally blanked on who is acting as Chatelaine. Lord Rufus.
Kerwin.
Kerwin.
Yeah.
Kerwin, and just let him hit you first.
Nice. And then he starts nodding his head, and you could see there's excitement in his eyes as he starts to pour this. Yes, it's going to be a good night.
Oh my god.
And then he wipes the ale from his mouth. And he'll look over at his Mormont cousin and wink.
And Eric kind of looks at you, and there's a look of mischief in his eye as he returns your wink and smiles. Meanwhile, Riona, while you're sat there and you are sipping at the tea, which has been brought to you by Brynden, he served you first as you were closer. You notice that the small boy that was in Lady Karstark's lap is fixated on you. He's looking at you with a very intense interest that only a little tiny child can, you know, like you are the object of his fascination at the minute, and he's staring at you.
I think she'll look at him like, hello.
As you say hello, he like gets really embarrassed and hides in his mother's like her hair. He does that thing that kids do when you smile and wave at them and they just go like, no. And as he sort of tucks himself behind his mother's hair, she notices, and she looks down at him before she looks up at you. Oh, I'm sorry. Jaren is a little bit shy.
No bother. Wasn't so long since I was like that myself.
He'll grow out of it soon enough, I'm sure.
Yeah, every child is like that. A little special, but then, yeah, grow up. That's what
I'm so sorry, I never introduced myself. I'm Lady Joanna Karstark. And this is Jaren, my son.
Nice to meet you. I am Riona Braddock.
Lady Braddock, it's so good to finally meet you. I received news of your birth, it feels like an eternity ago now. And look at you, you've blossomed into a beautiful young woman.
Oh, thank you. How was
I wish
the
we could have
trip?
met in happier circumstances.
Yes, that's always what gets everybody here gathering. It's very few nice circumstances, but make what it is. Enjoy time.
Yes, well, the trip here wasn't exactly a pleasant one. Came to retrieve my husband's body. I'm not sure if you heard.
Yes, I'm very sorry. We just came back from one ourselves, so my condolences to you and your family.
My condolences to you and yours.
Well, take a nice little drink to all of our family's health and happiness from now on. Can bury our sadness.
And she raises her glass. She's having some of the Arbor Red. She's like, I'm here. I'm going to have the nice drink.
Yeah. I think maybe Riona also had a little bit, like, and the tea has actually kind of, like, been a nice kind of delusion of, like, being slightly tipsy and being a little too eager to talk to people, so.
And after a moment, you know, she takes a second to pause and says, you've never been to court before, have you?
No, I was required to be at the keep most of the time. A little bit of house duties kept me away. Couldn't travel, but this is nice as certain circumstances, but that's certainly exciting.
Oh, that'll wear off before too long. Trust me. And she kind of casts a shitty glance at the men sat at the high table.
Is she looking at one in particular?
She's kind of glaring at all of them, but she seems to not be super impressed with Lord Stark and the men sat around him. So that would be Bolton, Kerwin, Manderley, who's up there. She kind of reserves a slow look for those three.
Yes, I was rather surprised at... I do apologize, I haven't introduced myself. I'm Lyneth Braddock, Lady Lyneth Braddock. I was rather surprised at, well, the standards of Winterfell.
And she takes a breath. Well, there are currently ongoing skirmishes. I suppose they can't afford to waste resources.
Yes, that is true. I mean, although I was rather impressed that they managed to get an arbor red up here. I'll have to let my brother know that they were importing.
Well, I heard that Lord Barthagen had a barrel kept in the cellars for the birth of his children, but unfortunately they never got there.
Yes.
And she kind of hugs her son a little bit tighter.
Are you all right, Lady Carstark? You look a little... Because Deirdre's stuck in the wrong language, so give me a second.
Yeah. No, you're good. Absolutely.
Because the only word I can think of is in Sicilian, it's mushad. It's not, it's that level of, like, you're not sick, but you're not right well. But I
Just a little off.
Yeah, like, and I can't think of the word in English, so.
Yeah, that's fine. So we'll just assume that Lyneth said something nice, but with the, you don't look quite right. We'll find a word for, I can't even think of a word for that right now. And Lady Carstark kind of...
out of sorts?
We'll figure something out. But she, nonetheless, she looks down and she sighs, and you can see her shoulders drop a little. Well, honestly, I'm not doing very well. My husband is dead, murdered, killed, probably eaten by the Scargosi. And now I have to groom my son for lordship. He's 2 years old, and he is the Lord Carstark. And I'm not sure how to explain that to him.
He carries on his family's honor, and they will be watching him. Is that not what the Weirwoods are?
It's an awful lot to put on the shoulders of a 2-year-old.
Yes, but at least he has you, and you strike me as a woman who can very much carry many burdens.
As is the duty of any northern woman.
Yes. But you said you came to recover your husband's body. They did not bring it to you?
It is here. I am to take it back to Carhold. What remains of it, at least. And she's at this point, she's like poking around, like pushing meat around her little plate that she has. Like she's, fidgeting with her hand.
And like, Lyneth is going to do that thing where you kind of like put your hand out on hers and, kind of give them just that little hand squeeze.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, but being subtle with it, so it's like she's giving comfort but not making it obvious.
Yeah. And she looks up and gives you like a sad little smile, like the acknowledgement.
Yes. the ladies of the North do have to stand together. I'm honestly surprised at the lack who attended.
They're here.
Oh.
They're just elsewhere at present.
Intriguing. Their choice.
They're in the
over others.
Godswood, if you wish to speak to them.
Well, this is my first time to Winterfell. I thought I would get to know the ladies, my neighbors. You, obviously, are a person of consequence to know.
Well, I am the regent of House Karstark at present, so I suppose so.
And she kind of gives Lady Karstark that look of like, yeah, but you're worth more than that. You, it's you, not just your name.
Yeah.
And she's gonna kind of lean back and like look at Riona and make sure she's doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, I feel that I need to take a small constitutional. Riona, would you care to join me, or are you going to enjoy the company of Lady Karstark longer?
Oh, I do think I also need to take a little bit of break. The excitement here is a little bit for first time, but it was a delight to meet you, both of you.
And she smiles, and Jaren peeks out from behind his mother's hair and sort of smiles and gives like a little fat-fingered wave at you, Riona.
Yeah, she'll do like a little wave back as we...
And they get up and leave you at the table, Brolin. So you're here alone with Lord Cassell, Lord Glover, Lady Karstark, and your cousin, Lord Mormont.
Whew, it was some fine chicken. I've had chicken before, but not like this.
I'm sorry, what a way to break the fucking ice. Lord Cassell looks over and he's halfway through like a chicken drumstick and he's like, yeah, it's good chicken, yeah.
Good, it's fantastic. It's spiced. It must have been soaking in spice. It's all the way through. It's...
At this point, Lord Glover looks over to you and he's like, do you not cook chicken properly where you're from? I mean, I know House Glover and House Braddock haven't, had any family change for a little bit, but we're still pretty close. We can cook chicken at Glover. You can surely cook chicken at Braddock. Right?
Mostly fish. We don't have chicken often.
What? Well, I mean, fish and chicken are not too that dissimilar. They're very similar principles when cooking them. You season your fish, right? He doesn't know about cooking. He has no idea that fish and chicken are nothing alike.
Well, this is quite not what fish is like. This it doesn't necessarily fall apart like fish does when you have you had fish before?
Yeah, well, Deepwood Mott is on the coast.
Right.
Berlin.
What
Of course
fish?
we eat fish. I don't know, the stuff you get in the sea.
Yeah, you just compared it to chicken, and it's nothing like chicken.
Well, I'm just saying that when my cooks bring me my fish, it's delicious and spiced and soft. And when my cooks bring me my chicken, it's delicious and spiced and soft. So, I mean, they're basically the same thing.
Yeah, so's a rock and a tree, I guess.
I mean, yeah, you fall off your ass and hit a rock, it hurts. You fall off your ass and hit a tree, it hurts.
Yeah, well, I could definitely use another drink. And he puts his mug up in the air. Another.
And just an unseen servant comes out and just pours more ale for you, Brolin. And Lord Glover has come up, stood up from his chair and come round to sit next to you, into where Riona had been sat previously. And he sort of takes your cup from you and grabs another that's just been poured and hands it to you. So how you doing, Brolin? How's it been?
Who did this? Is this Glover?
This is Glover.
Or is this,
yeah.
All right. Well, it's came fresh off the loss of me mum, so what can you expect? And it's a seasonal loss.
Fucking hell. And he raises his tankard and says, "To you, ma'am."
Agatha.
And he just downs the thing. And it's like a tankard. And he's like glugging for a hot second.
How's your half of the Wolfswood?
Pretty good. Cannot complain. I mean, summer is pretty much over at this point. So it's going to get a little dicier. It's getting colder. The snow's getting thicker.
Yeah.
But we've got good supplies going on. We've had a great harvest.
Any exports? Still lumber number one?
Pretty much same as always, really. Lumber, a bit of trade here and there. Fish.
Yeah. Have you considered building vessels and trading with the South?
What, and sail right past the Iron Islands?
I mean, yeah, if you're skilled, it's not that difficult.
Oh, yeah. I'll get a bunch of lads used to cutting down lumber. I'll have them make a boat. We'll chuck a load of expensive lumber on it, sail it right past Iron Islands. That'll be fine, that, yeah.
Well, you don't have to do that yourself. You could use our ships.
All right. No, see, Mum always did say I was a bit of a slow learner. So, you proposing something here? We're trying to work something out here. Is this what's going on? Are we?
Well, on the west coast, which we are on, the strength of our houses would do better together.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wanted to see if I can help by using what we know, which we have lots of lumber as well, and we also are good at building ships. So, if you're interested in expanding your trade, we might be able to come to something.
All right. I'm gonna
Perhaps a favor for a favor.
We're going to take this to an intrigue. So I would like you to roll me status breeding as your, for all intents and purposes, intrigue.
So I got the 2 bonus dice up there. And so then would I just roll the stat and add a d6 if I wanted to use one?
Yes. You add a d6 to your keep number. The keep dice.
So I'll roll a breeding. I clicked on it. And it's not okay. Okay, yeah, it didn't show up when I clicked on it.
It might be asking you for, if you want to add bonus dice, behind your character sheet.
Oh,
There's like a little extra pop-up.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll just add the 1 in that then. That just seems like it makes sense.
Yep, there.
Oh shit.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, let's go with the first one because I clicked it a bunch of times.
All right. So the first one is a 20, which means you go first in the intrigue. Now, do you have your cheat sheet up right now so we can? So you've got the things that you can do during an intrigue.
Yeah.
I do
that
not.
in the roll 20, or is that on the character sheet?
It's on the Google Drive that we have.
Yep. Okay, let me bring that up.
You got it?
Mm-hmm. I will get there.
Yeah, no worries. Holy shit, it's
Okay.
warm. I have to take this thing off. Dang. Because it's 21 Celsius on the East Coast, even though it's freaking November.
All right.
Yeah, we had a dice used from Bill, Charlie.
Oh wait, that's
Okay.
cast info. I'm sorry. This is on the House Braddock document, right? Correct. I apologize.
I'll get the link for you. I'll find it.
As you can see, I was totally prepared to go into intrigue.
We're good. Okay, so how about you just hit me with the RP to begin with, and then we can resolve our roll in a sec.
As we well know, winter is indeed on its way. It's best to stock up, and now's the best time to be trading with the South. So I will lend you some of our ships for trade in exchange for I could do it for a favor. I could do it for gold. Oh, we'll see. I want to help you so you can propose something to me, if you are so inclined.
Okay, so I feel like this is going to be a convince, which is under persuasion.
Mm-hmm.
I would say this is pretty far as a persuasion convince. So if you want to hit that for me and see how well you do.
$13.
Okay, so his intrigue defense, taking that into consideration, that is 1 degree of success. So what is your rank in persuasion?
1.
1. Wait, what?
Or sorry, no, it's 3, and then convince is 1.
Okay, so
these numbers wrong?
it's 3. No, you're good.
Yeah.
So your persuasion rank is 3. So with his composure, his DR, all right. So he looks at you, and he kind of raises an eyebrow, and he says, "Look, I've heard that you've been away for a bit, and you're pretty, new to this kind of thing. But usually, when you're offering a trade, you kind of need something a little stronger than a favor. Like, I need to know what you want. I need to know what the price is going to be for these ships, because I know I'm not, I look daft. I'm maybe not the quickest when it comes to some things, but I know that ships cost a lot of money, as do the men on them. So I need to know the real cost of this. Not
Sure.
just, oh, I'll do it. You can owe me a favor, because favors is how a lot of men died on red grass. And I'm not going to be some poor fucker with an arrow in my eye on red grass field. I'm not having that. So
Sure,
what is it you want?
So
I need to just roll for him real quick, and then
Mhm.
This is 16. What is your intrigue defense?
Intrigue defense is 10.
Okay. So that is 2 degrees of success, because each degree of success is 5. So it's 5 above. So his persuasion rank is 4, which means you would take 8 composure damage. Now, you have what's called a disposition rating, which is how you view this person. Indifferent, if you don't really bear them any good or bad will, is a DR of 3, and that would soak 3 points of that composure damage. But if you like them, your DR is higher, which is like 2 to 1. 1 is you love them. So it would affect how much of this composure you soak. So how do you feel?
I would say that I've been here for 2 years, and this probably they weren't at the funeral, so I'm either indifferent or I haven't heard anything. So indifferent, I think, is the best.
Okay, so you would soak 3 points of that composure damage, which means you would take 5 composure damage.
Cool. Oh, well, everything's a lesson. How's your smith?
Do you mean Miss Smith?
How well can you produce swords, axes, armor?
We're pretty good at it, and we're not, we're not one of the biggest military forces in the north, but our men are well equipped. Our horses are well shoed. I mean, we're gonna have pretty good axes to chop them trees down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right. So, in your main keep, how many smiths do you have?
I mean, we've got 3 or 4 good ones and a bunch of apprentices under them.
All right. Well, how's I can lend you 3 fast longboats with the crew on them in exchange for a high-producing blacksmith.
So you want one of my smiths for some boats? With crew?
With crew. For trade.
And you're telling me that these crews can withstand Ironborn raiders? If they sail past Pike in the Iron Islands, they're going to come back?
They're not fighters, they're sailors. They're good with boats.
Right.
I never said they'd fight the Ironborn, I said they'd get by with goods.
All right. And he scratches his chin a bit.
It's a benefit of a longboat. They're fast.
All right. Hit me with your next action.
I feel like that would be proposing that offer would be a convince roll.
Yeah, for sure. So let's have another convince.
Another 10. Oof.
Okay, so unfortunately, a 10 does not beat his intrigue defense. So he's kind of looking at you skeptically. I mean, as it is at the minute, our trade's doing pretty all right. We've got a decent amount of money coming in. We've got enough trade going out to sustain us. Granted, it's going to get a bit trickier when it does come to winter, but I'd rather take my chances with more men on the roads than risking a couple of boats. Because as you said, they're not fighters. So what happens? What happens when the Ironborn raid them, board them, kill them, take those boats for themselves? I don't know. I'm just not, I'm not convinced. It's a lot of risk for a reward that I don't see coming. And if that's the case, if you give me these boats, lend me these boats and some more and men, and I have to give you one of my smiths, I'm down a smith, and we're both down men and boats. I mean, I appreciate where you're coming from here, Brolin, and I know, that our houses have a good relationship, and you're not trying to fuck me here, because you're not trying to fuck me here, are you, Brolin? And he kind of goes serious for a minute. But I need something stronger, I need something that's going to be a good guarantee.
Right. We live in times where guarantees are needed, but without risk. The reward is expected meager, perhaps? My boat and my crew would not get caught by the Ironborn. We're too fast and we're too good. But I understand your point of view as well. So, if the time comes when you need boats, send me a raven. We'll work something out.
And if you desperately do need a smith, then chuck me a raven. But maybe we can figure something out.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just too deep in my cups and I can't see my ass from my elbow. I don't know, but I just,
He'll raise his cup and go, the ass is the big one.
Hey! He cheers and takes a drink. And then, for a minute, he's pretty quiet. And he goes, so what happened with Riona?
What do you mean, what happened?
Well, she was supposed to marry that Flint, wasn't she?
You can kind of, like, he's... If people are good at reading tells, he's, like, pursing his lips and his...
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but she is better off. She was at Agatha's passing. Manderley's sent the Lord's boy Randall over, so they seem to hit it off pretty well. She deserves someone that would appreciate her. If a Flint would walk away.
He does that face where someone clearly disagrees, but they're not going to say anything, where he sort of lifts his eyebrows and goes like that before he takes a drink.
What's that? What's that on your face here?
It's beard.
No, I'm talking about the opinion.
Fine. I won't trust the Mandelays as far as I could fucking throw them.
Well, how far can you throw him?
And he sort of flexes, and he's got like a pretty decent arm muscle going, I'm just saying.
Well, the knight is young, and I do want to see how much you can trust him. And I'll wink.
And he laughs and claps you really hard on the back, and it's kind of like a jolt as he just whacks you one. Yeah, just be careful with him, not you? You see how cozy he is up there.
It is, regardless of what the North thinks, it is a good idea to intertwine with us. We've been an underdog for a while, so any house that wants to do good for themselves will latch on sooner or later.
And he takes a swig again from his tankard, and you hear him say, beneath the direwolf we're all underdogs. And with that, we cut to Lyneth and Riona taking a little stroll.
Yeah. She's going to like do that thing where you kind of like take Riona's arm and like walk the room a little bit and kind of get a gauge on who's here, what the attitude is, and then slowly start working towards the head table. You have to make your responsibilities are important, and you have to say hello to the host.
Yes, of course.
And if that meandering closer to the top table possibly takes us by the table with the flints, intentionally so.
Uh-huh. Okay, so you do your rounds. You know, you are almost showing Riona off, I imagine, kind of. You know, doing what a lady of a house would do with the younger daughter who is currently unmarried, you know. Walking around, making your greetings to the people who are assembled here, and like before, there's you can see, you know, freaking anyone from a northern house is here. And there is a lady Whitehill who is here too. And you see her just kind of leaving the room, but she smiles and nods at you pleasantly. But before long, you do find your way across to the Flint table. In fact, this is the table that you saw Lady Whitehill leaving from, as she excuses herself. She's the one that had been drinking and carousing previously with Flint, and I forgot who was with him. Shoot, there was someone here with Flint.
Manderley and Serwin.
Manderley, that's
Carowin.
it.
Well, Manderley,
okay.
and Carowin are at the head table.
With the Flints. The Flint was on the
Flint.
head table too.
Flint
Stark,
had
Manderley,
moved
Flint, and
away
Carowin.
from there. He had moved away from there and was talking with these two other people. So Flint is on his own now. We'll say the other two people have left because my brain has completely forgotten who it was, even though I've written it down somewhere. I can't find it on my notes. But Flint is now on his own at this table, and he definitely sees you coming, as he gives you direct eye contact as you sort of meander your way to his table.
I think as soon as Riona kind of gets an idea of what's happening, she squeezes Lyneth's hand, and just you see her just like do that pursed lip thing. Just like,
Remember, darling, you're better off, and you're infinitely better than he is.
yes, I know. Okay.
Let's be honest. And she'll do that kind of like side talk to Riona, and then but make eye contact with Flint to let him know that they're talking about him, not to them. Let's be honest. I really don't see how that suggestion would have benefited you at all. I mean, I don't see an improvement from the son over the father, do you? And just
Yeah, she'll give you a look. Yes.
And she'll just keep walking very sedately and then very pleasantly. Oh, hello, Lord Flint. How are you?
And he gives the most forced fake smile that you have seen in a long time. Like, this smile is Highgarden worthy. This is, you've bumped into someone amongst the rose gardens that you fucking hate, but you cannot let them know, you know, in words. And he, you know, it's that, oh, hi, Felicia, you look great today kind of smile. As he does it, and he says, Lady Braddock.
Lord Flint.
And he didn't even look at you, Riona. He was looking at Lyneth as he gave out the smile, and he just glances at you. Can I help you ladies with something?
We're just taking a small walk around the room, making our polite introductions to everyone. It's only fair that we talk to our neighbors, isn't it, Riona? We wouldn't want to be accused of being discourteous.
Of course.
How very southern of you.
Well, my family is from Highgarden, so... But I like to think of adapted well.
Surprised you hadn't died a death of cold just yet. It's quite warm down there in Highgarden, isn't it?
Do you know what snow does to roses, Lord Flint?
I don't, but I'm sure you're going to tell me.
It makes the thorns longer.
And he sort of nods and looks off before he sort of laughs to himself.
Mm.
Oh, that's cute.
I'm sorry, did I say something funny?
No, not at all.
Oh, I must have misheard, Riona. It is sometimes difficult to understand Lord Flint's accent. But...
Oh. Well, milady, sorry to break it to you, but half the North talks like I do, so you better brush up on it, you know.
I have no problem
good in doing your
understanding.
rounds if you can't understand what we're saying, eh?
Well, I mean, I have no problem understanding.
I don't think it was what she was saying, Lord. I think it was that your information is faulty.
And he's not been looking at you, Riona, because I don't know whether you missed it. This guy's a fucking huge asshole. But he looks across to you again. What was that, little mouse? I didn't hear you over the din of the conversation.
That we
It's all
made
right.
that she made. Okay. She realized she was gonna get out of line. I think she'll just.
No, Riona, darling. No, Riona, darling, don't worry. I'm sure that Lord Flint's comments were not an insult in any way, shape, or form, and I would not have to tell my lord husband that he was insulting you, his sister. I mean, honestly, I've heard that the Flints are competent fighters?
Yeah, so at least that's what we heard.
I mean, all I can go by is what Roland and Brynden do, and and my brother, and well, you know my brother Leo, right? I've spoken of him. He is much better than
that's right.
fighter.
Your brother, Lord Leo Tyrell. They call him the Longthorn, don't they? But I've never actually heard of him having a proper fight. He just goes to them tourneys all the time and breaks his tourney lances in that very, very fancy armor, which I'm pretty sure has never seen real combat. But hey, who am I? Who am I to say anything against him?
Lord Flint, I take it your history is lacking.
All right.
Do you not recall who led the troops at Redgrass Field?
Well, seems to be I remember that.
I seem to recall that the name was Tyrell.
Now, you see, your books might be a little bit faulty, because I don't know how they write the books down south, my love, but turns out...
I'm not your wife.
From what I get up here... Huh?
Well, I'm not your wife, so I'm definitely not your love, right, Riona? I wouldn't want to be accused of by your fine lady wife whom I have yet to meet. I should make that appointment, right, Riona? I should make the appointment to meet his wife.
Of course.
Oh, I would love you to meet my wife.
I wouldn't want anybody to say anything untoward about our relationship. I myself am very dedicated to my husband, and I know that you must be dedicated to your wife, and would never engage in rumors of an adulterous relationship of any sort.
Oh, this is fun. But yeah, as I was saying, check your books again, because I seem to remember it was the hammer and anvil that everyone's talking about. There was no mention of any flowers or roses down there. Fact! Wasn't it the Dornish that did most of the work?
No, but I'm glad you seem to think so. I'm also glad you enjoy our wine, Lord Flint. It's about the only thing this house.
I hadn't touched it.
Oh, really? Because I can see it in your glass. And smell it in your breath.
Anyway, Lady Braddock, I could dance this dance all night with you if you want. We can sit here, we can exchange barbs all night, because I've got plenty for you. But have you got better things to be doing?
Oh, I have plenty of better things to be doing, but, Lord Flint, you don't have any barbs, as you say. You don't come anywhere close to even having burrs.
Oh dear. Well, winter will come soon enough.
Winter
And we'll
does
see
come.
if those pretty petals of yours survive the chill, shall we?
Yes. We shall. It'll be interesting
care, Lady
to see
Braddock.
how... It'll be
And
very
he sort of
interesting to
like
see how well...
hand waves you off.
Oh, he does, and she'll just give the absolute perfect curtsy. And as she walks by, is there a glass anywhere near?
Oh yeah,
On
there's
the
tons
table?
everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, she's going to trip and knock the glass into his lap.
And he jolts back as the wine
I'm
spills
so sorry.
over
Are
his
you
lap.
okay? Are you all right?
And
I
he-
do apologize. Oh, I'm so sorry. And then she kind of looks at Riona because she intentionally spilled the wine on his lap.
Mm-hmm. Oh no.
Yeah, and he just looks at you, and there is fury in his eyes as he's just grabbed like a bit of fabric and he's just dabbing at his lap. And then as you're walking away, you can just hear him say very quietly, "That fucking snotty bitch," as you walk off. And he is daggers at you.
And she'll kind of lean into Riona. I did promise Brolin he could have a fight.
Okay. My. she'll like giggle. It's like, wasn't expecting that.
Do you feel better about him now that you see that he's really just a has-been?
Yes.
Who apparently pissed himself in the public.
Yes, although I'm not necessarily worried about him.
You're fine.
I'm worried
We're going
about
to make a round?
what he says. I wasn't expecting him here. I don't know why I didn't. All the lords are here.
There are many, many things that he can say, Riona. But now, anytime he says it, he'll be the man commenting about two lovely young women in trousers that he pissed himself in.
Of course. Thank you.
Smile. You're having fun. This is what this is about. And now we're about to go have a conversation with the Starks. Possibly see about why things are going the way they are for House Braddock.
Of course. This is just so much at the same time. I'm used to being at home. Not just having this many of them here.
All right. So, as you meander your way up to that top table, after having just this little tete-a-tete with the Lord Flint, we are going to zoom back into Greenwall Keep. I'm trying to think of a cool scene transition. I don't have one, but just imagine, insert cool scene transition as we arrive back at Brynden. What are you up to at present, Brynden? This can be any time immediately after your conversation, or there can be like a little bit of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff going on, if you'd like.
I think I'm going to use this opportunity to take advantage of the cool architecture that is Greenwall Keep, and I picture a very cinematic, of course, sulky, broody Brynden standing atop the middle portion of the wall, with his cloak wrapped around himself, just staring at the road into town, and with the concurrent thoughts of, please just tell me what to do. Very conflicted about the conversation he had with Nymor, because he doesn't know what to believe anymore, because his best friend just told him, hey, I know your brother was a murderer, but we lied to everybody. lots of conflicting thoughts. So I picture him
Mm-hmm.
sitting there waiting for some sort of sign or something to happen, because as 17-year-olds have no idea how to rule a small keep such as this. So exciting times.
So Brynden is up there having his XX Sephiroth XX moment as he's trying to contemplate and work through all his feelings. And you are looking out at the land before you. And from up here, everything is peaceful. Everything is quiet. You can see far off in the distance, smoke from a hamlet that is a little way out from Greenwall Keep. You can see signs of life around you, and you can see the immense green of the forest that surrounds your keep down the mountains. And the snow is falling heavier now. You can feel that chill start to set in. Summer is over. And you can't help but think, these aren't your house words, but winter is coming. And things are changing. And you can, as you sort of turn to look back at your keep, you see the brilliant red of the Weirwood Tree that you have. There is a smaller weirwood within the grounds, just as as a local place. It's much smaller. It's not grand like the Godswood at Winterfell or anything like that, but this is just a smaller, almost like a shrine at Greenwall, where if you wanted to pay homage to the old gods, you could. And much like every weirwood, this one, though small, does have a face, and it appears to be weeping with the red sap running down from its eye holes. And its mouth is formed in like a moaning sob that you can see from atop this wall.
Cool. I think Brynden would definitely go down and investigate, because today is the day of spooky things. Yeah, definitely go down and investigate this tree.
Okay, so you head down to the Weirwood Tree, and as you get closer, you are struck by how oddly quiet it is here. When snow falls and silence, it's just silence. There's no sound because the ambient world sound is just absorbed. It feels like that in here, like you could shout or scream and the sound would never leave this very tree. And the tree, its face, it seems to be looking at you no matter where you go in this wood. It's always looking at you, weeping, crying at you, Brynden.
I think there's definitely a moment of Brynden, like when you look at a painting and you're trying to get its eyes off of you, he kind of like takes a step over and he's like, and I think after he realizes it's what appears to be an illusion, he would get a little closer and look at it and probably just try to have a conversation with it, because it seems the best thing to talk to, because there's no other sound. I'm at a loss for words. My best friend, my mentor, he knew Brynden was a monster, and he brought him back here anyways. How are the people gonna follow him when he's murdered his own people? Am I, and he's like looking to the tree and he's like, am I crazy for thinking this? Is this just me? I don't know what to do. And then he starts to like work around and see if there's, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Through the silence, you swear you hear it, but it's one of those things where you think you hear something and you're not sure whether you actually heard it or imagined it. But there seems to be a sob, a cry.
And I picture Brynden like rapidly spinning, looking for the sound of this.
You cannot pinpoint the direction.
And then he looks back to the tree to see if anything has changed or looks different, and probably takes a couple steps closer to see if the sob has come from this sapping tree.
You take a couple of steps closer, and you can see that the sap that had run down, usually on a weirwood, this is dried sap. But you can see the sap is running like it's fresh. And it's a deep red sap.
I think Brynden would be bewildered by this, first of all, because this is crazy, but he would maybe take out his hand and put it against the sap and take like a sample of it on his finger and kind of observe it, and then after a moment's pass, put a mark of it on his bow.
Okay.
Safekeeping.
So you reach out, you take a finger of the sap, and you rub it between your fingers. It doesn't feel like tree sap. It's too thin. It smells metallic, and you look at it, and it's blood.
Yeah, I think this would be the breaking of Brynden's like, all right, I know anything to handle here, and he would, once again, as he typically does, start searching for Nymor, because this is like Scooby-Doo just found a clue, and this is definitely something Fred would need to see. Yeah.
Okay, with a rut-row, Brynden dashes from the Godswood to find Nymor. And where does he find Nymor?
Nymor is in the deep archives, doing my research on this strange seal. And I probably have been there for, some time during, I've probably been there for a bit, sort of just going through as much as it's you're a researcher. You get in there, you make sure you have gloves on so you don't ruin the pages, the ancient texts. It's what you do in a special archive. So I'm in the special archive trying to look for this seal. And also, I would imagine that since I have been there, I have, I regularly sort of replace, I imagine that I've sort of created what do you call them, sandbags, but basically a straw, sort of to sort of keep to keep it less damp, right? To try to basically, I'm trying to do my preservationism on these books and scrolls, and probably also tablets depending on how far back they go, right? So I'm probably just checking my, in between, making sure that the hay is all sort of set up, and I'm just going through trying to figure out who this could have been. If this is is this an old house, a new house? Is this where would this have so it's this kind of where might this have come from? So I'm sitting there in there, and I probably depending on when he shows up, I might have a small plate with a sausage and some cheese, and might be on my lunch break, as it were, just sort of pondering this.
Yeah. You're sat on ye olde Westerosi silica bag to absorb moisture with a little Westerosi Lunchable that Winifred has prepared for you. And I think, actually, Brynden, you kind of bump past Winifred on the stairs down, and she says, just be careful, he said he's hiding books all day. You make sure he comes outside and sees a bit of sunlight.
I definitely think he will. Yeah.
Cheers, love.
I
think Winifred is really semi-informal with the children of House Braddock. I think she thinks of them as her children, so she gives him a little pat on the arm, and she doesn't say Lord Braddock. She's like, cheers, love, and just pats him and heads up the stairs.
Love it.
I love Winifred, but she's married, so
When has that ever stopped anyone in Westeros? But anyway, this is where you find
especially Tyrell.
Martell.
What are you doing, Nymor?
A bit of research, as a matter of fact. Bit of a mystery. How are you? Would you like Mistress Winifred has brought me some food.
You seem off. What's wrong? Typically, when you say mystery, you're bubbly and you're happy and you're jumping up and down. But this mystery seems more troublesome.
Or not. I don't... Perhaps... I don't know. I think I may have been threatened, but perhaps not. I mean, for all I know, this is banter. Mysterious
Threatened,
banter.
by whom?
No, that is the question. I do not know at the moment. There is a longer story here, but first, if you're coming down here with a less dank now that I'm here, do you know how much mold there was in some of these books when I first got here? You know, I had to spend so much time in this cellar, the crypt, whatever, working on the mold problem. This book is not taken care of. Now, of course, this is also flesh. So
I picture Brynden knowing where this is going, and he pulls off his bow and like shoves it in Amor's face. He's like, "The Weirwood Tree is bleeding. You need to see this."
What? Pops up immediately and just starts heading with Brynden towards the Weirwood Tree. Like, it's like the minute he says that, that's it. Like, and we just sort of move towards the tree. It's bleeding. What do you mean? It's winter? What happened? What happened?
I was standing outside, and I felt like going to see the tree, and I walked up to the tree, and then I heard a sob, like someone was crying, like it sounded like a little girl or something, and then I turned around, and then there's blood coming from its eyes.
Okay.
And then I was like, this is Nightmare. I come to you, tell me, you probably say prophecy, and then I skulk off and we do it again.
Yeah, but this is more than prophecy. This is the higher mysteries. Oh, which, okay. And like I sort of head to the tree, hopefully with Brynden in tow, and I'm going to check it out.
Okay.
Check out this tree, see what is there to be seen, as it were.
Okay, I would like if you could roll me a knowledge education. So you are looking over the tree and applying everything you've ever learned about the Weirwood. And Brynden, as you stand here before this tree, you are feeling a strange feeling in your chest. It's hard to describe. It's like almost like you have butterflies, but there's a feeling of anticipation of something lingering at the edges of your consciousness that you can't quite get a hold of, but you know it's there.
Ooh.
Like how I feel during this whole campaign. Okay.
Because, and I actually am specialized in the higher mysteries, and I'm thinking about it, and I was like, okay, let me think. And I think I'm trying to think about it, but I'm actually just sort of going right in for the eyes of the tree, and I think that sort of like visceralness is like sort of taking my attention in there, like to sort of like, is it still bleeding, and sort of testing it.
So you're testing it, and it seems to still be not flowing as richly as it had done, but it's, there's still some movement there, and it hasn't like frozen or dried up just yet. There is still some movement from this blood-like substance coming from this tree.
I am going to do the thing that you do, that smart people do, who perhaps might be a tad nerdy in this situation, who are also trained in healing. I'm going to take it and then try to, yeah, I know, but it's like, well, what kind of blood is this?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's fair. How familiar are you with the various blood tastes?
Well, like, is Nightmare gonna come back and be like, pig's blood? Is that what's that?
Look, first off, there are a lot of different foods to eat. Some of them involve blood, and then sometimes also people themselves are bleeding. I feel like maybe do a little bit of diagnose on here to see, what does this taste like? Also, for no reason to be concerned, I do also know poisons, and I am well versed in some of those sorts of things. Just saying, for no reason, because I study.
So even though he's a Martell and poison knowledge is basically an ancestral trait of the Martells, he did study at the Citadel about poisons. And it is feasible that, you would know what human blood tastes like, because when you cut yourself, you give it a little lick to get rid of that blood. It's like, it's no big. You don't have to be a vampire to know what human blood tastes like. It helps.
Yeah, I mean, like, we all know what human blood tastes like, and we can tell the difference between, like, the bloods of different groups of people and, like, what their feelings were at the time, and we can use our mind powers to charm them. Not a
No, it's just normal human things. But so as Nymor scoops some of this blood and tastes it, it tastes human.
It tastes
I'm just going to give you this for free.
Yeah. So tap it.
Yeah. Is this always normal?
To taste it? Oh, no. This is not what I would call normal. No. No. Would you like to taste it? I recommend it. Well, you are the Lord. No, don't. It's fine. It's blood. Human.
It's human blood.
This is fascinating. Why would the Weirwood Tree bleed human blood? I mean, you would think that the Weirwood trees, from where they come from, before there would be the taste of the people who were here before the first men came. You think it would be perhaps the blood of the children of the forest. I mean, or the old gods. But the old gods are not first men. That makes no sense. I must write this down. I perhaps talk to my trainer.
Do you think this is my dream, Nymor?
Yes. Or something larger. This dream of yours. There is. I look around just to see who's in the area. Brynden, I have a surprise for you. It's perhaps I should wait for your name day, but I will tell you the surprise now.
Oh, right then, Nymor. This is such a weird day. This is like the weirdest day maybe of Brendan's life. I just want everyone to realize that. Scary brother dream, Nymor's licking tree blood, like it, and now he's like, I have a surprise for you. Okay, great. Excellent. Let's toss that in.
But you should not be distressed or upset or run off when I tell you the surprise. But the surprise is not even complete yet, so you will promise you are going to be calm?
Nymor, is this a surprise, a gift, or something that I'm not going to like? Because you've described three very different things in one lump sum.
It is hard to say.
And now it's not done, correct?
No. It's in motion. I did not want to say until I had more information, and I do not yet have that information. Have you... I imagine you have not. I got a raven today. It was scarlet. I have been putting out inquiries.
Inquiries of what, Nymor?
Well, you know the prophecy.
Yes, I know of the prophecy. That's all I ever hear about from you is prophecy this, prophecy that, etc.
Yes, well, it is a prophecy, and it's very important. But the prophecy gives me some concern. I don't know if you are the drowned sea wolf, then what does that mean? That means maybe what? What does that mean, if you were? The drowned seawolf married the Winter Rose, which does this mean that something will happen to Lord Brolin? I hope not. Does this mean that you will... those two are so in love. And I have long thought about what does this mean if the prophecy is about you? What are the implications of this, and what this might mean for tragedy or doom? And I have many concerns, and I think to myself, what can I do to... You cannot force a prophecy, but perhaps you can make situations more favorable so that things happen in a way that is less tragic. So I thought to myself, if maybe there is some other Winter Rose, that if you are the drowned sea wolf, and there were some other Winter Rose other than Lady Lyneth, then perhaps no tragedy must befall anyone. So I have been making inquiries.
Nymor, how do you know that the drowned sea wolf and the Winter Rose are even people? How do you know the prophecy is even real?
Well, first off, prophecies are real. This Og the Seer has a long history. No one believed him in the very beginning when he made his prophecies. But when he prophesied what was then what we would be called the Long Night, that was his last prophecy. And his last prophecy was of this 1,000-year winter. No one believed this. And then also of the dead walking and all of this. No one, and then it was true. And so... this Orc was gifted, but no one believed him in his time. But it is important to mind him now. And Brynden, you have the green sight. You must believe in the higher mysteries. This is clearly. Look, I have been looking for another Winter Rose for you, so that you might.
Sure, but Nymor, what if the Winter Rose is an actual rose, or what if there's an actual drowned sea wolf out there? I'm saying, how do you know it's about me and my brother?
Well, an actual rose cannot marry an actual seal. That is, one is an animal, one is a flower. That makes no sense. So clearly, this is metaphor for people. This is how visions. So, this. What I'm trying to tell you is that I have been looking for someone for you, a second Winter Rose, so that so that perhaps if you marry this other Winter Rose, then no tragedy will befall Lord and Lady Braddock. And then it won't be her that you are meant to marry, if you are the drowned sea wolf. And
Alrighty,
I have
well.
a response.
You do?
I do. Came today.
So that's who is threatening you.
Perhaps it's banter, I don't know. But and I don't know who it is. And so there is a mystery who this is. It was not signed, only the seal. Hey, look, and I pull out the small thing, and I show him the seal of this dagger that is dripping petals, and the message inside saying, "I heard you were looking for me. Beware my thorns."
This is very strange. So
I think so as well.
Nymor, who would know that you're looking for them and know where to find you?
This is a good question. I don't know. So, this is what I've been doing. I've been looking to see if I can identify this crest in some way, learn something about it, because someone is interested. They must be found and perhaps investigated to see who they are, what kind of person they are. It's interesting. It's interesting.
And Nymor, have you told anyone else besides me of this
No.
second Winter Rose?
I have not. And not at all. I would not... Brynden, I do not think I should tell you this because it is not something I want in your head, but I
This isn't a
suspect perhaps
surprise, is
I
it?
must. No, it is a thought. There is a reason why I have told no one about why you may be the one in the prophecy. Specifically, why I have not told your brother or anyone. There is a reason why this is information between just you and I. First, it was different. 5 years ago, it was a different reason why I said nothing. Because, well, how your mother was. But since your brother has returned and the things I've learned, I did not think it wise to tell a man who has been away and has been in a place where who knows what they did to him, and who has had, by all accounts, a very violent past. I did not think it wise for him to know that you might be that there may be... I do not know how he would react. I do not know if he would react with violence, and I could not live if anything happened to you. Orion, you twins are very important to me, and if I know you, I do not know him as well, and I do not know if he would take knowledge of a prophecy that is unclear, it is not clear, if he would take this as a threat and if he would harm you. And I could not let that be a possibility. So I have not told him, and I have not told Lady Braddock. I've told no one. I want to keep you safe. Because it may not be you. This may not be you at all, and then the prophecy is about him and everything is fine. But I do not want...
Naima, what if it is about me? What if it is about me? Then what do we do?
Then we let the prophecy unfold as it will. We cannot know this. This is something for the old gods, I think. This is how that would work. The salt tree is not yet blooming. We will learn. I don't know if it is you. I don't know. And this is...
So you just want me to wait around and find out if my brother's gonna murder me when he comes back? When we tell him I'm... Is that what we're doing?
We are not telling him.
Just stay put, Brynden.
Brynden, I don't want you hurt if he becomes violent, so he cannot know. And I want you only to be safe. I want you to be successful. I want you to be happy and healthy. And I want, if you are not the prophesied one, then you are not. And then you do something else with your life, something that will make all use of your gifts. If you are the prophesied one, then I hope that this means something. I hope it does not mean anything tragic. I hope that the story of Braid and Ok, the brothers who founded our house, is not something that will return again. And you should not let that happen. It is important for the Braddocks to be together, to be allied, to be strong. And I don't know the answer to this. I don't know. But...
So, Naima, where do we go from here? Do we tell Roland when he gets back about the tree? Do we not tell him? Do we... I'll follow your judgment. You're more qualified than I am, but I don't know what to do.
I don't know. It is unclear. Your mother charged me with things before she died. And she gave me responsibilities for the family as her maester. And those things I must continue to carry out the wishes of the lady of the house. And part of those things is to keep you safe. And so I will do this. Do we tell him that the tree bleeds? This I think we can tell him. I do not think we should tell him of the dream or of how you too are a drowned sea wolf.
I'm definitely not telling him about the dream.
No. And do not tell him about that either. So, look,
Are you going to tell him about your letter?
No. He does not need to know at this moment about this. This would be provocative. And also, we don't know who she is. We don't know her name. We don't know anything about her. This is too premature to say something too soon. Perhaps we will never find her. Though if it is prophecy, then perhaps we will. We only do our best.
I don't think someone who's written you a letter isn't going to show their face eventually.
Oh, well, let's hope it is something pleasant and there is something nice. But we will learn.
Do you typically get nice letters of ominous, non-signed nature, and it's playful? Is that typical in Maester's work?
In Maester's work, no. But in the work of people sometimes who are, that's a complicated. Love lives are complicated.
It kind of gives you a look like.
No. Sometimes people send love letters that can be unsigned, but this is
a love letter now. Okay.
No, it's look. All I'm saying is we do not know. We do not know. So I think because we do not know, we do not tell them. We hold this because it may come of nothing, and if it is comes of nothing, there is no need to provoke a man who has slaughtered villages.
Alrighty then. Well, just secrets, and he holds out his arm for the Viking handshake.
And if all is well, then the drowned sea wolf is him, and the winter rose is her, and they will bring our family, your family, to bloom, and you can do whatever you want. But if it is you, then we will learn this in time.
I got a bad feeling about this, Nymor. But there's work to do, and he starts walking, looking to see if there's any lordly-like things that he has to take care of.
Yep.
Remember, talk to all the servants. Right, like it just calls after him. Remember, talk to the servants. Make sure that you know everyone's name. Speak. Oh, you're gone.
And you are left there in the snow to contemplate for a moment, Nymor, before we head back once again east to Winterfell. And we are with Riona at present. Riona, you are basically being carted around this room by Lyneth. You've just been witness to verbal assault and battery on both sides from the Lord Flint and Lady Braddock, sparring, much like any brutal battle you've ever heard of in a story. And you are making your way to the top table when young Roland Manderley steps in. Lady Riona, Lady Lyneth, it's great to see you, and you both look very beautiful this evening, might I say.
Oh, it's very nice to see you here as well.
And he smiles and he blushes a little bit and he says, "That shade really suits you, my lady. Did you make that dress yourself?"
Hey. Oh no, you flatter me. No. I can thank wonderful Lady Braddock for her assistance.
And he looks to you, Lyneth. "You're very talented, my lady."
Oh, thank you, Lord Roland. But Riona definitely, well, as we say down south, you wouldn't want to overgild a rose now, would you?
And he smiles, and for a minute he's gaga eyes over Riona, and he's nodding politely. may I steal the Lady Riona from you for a moment for a little walk?
And she'll kind of like glance at Riona like, what do you want?
I think she's looking like, is this okay? I would. Okay. Yeah, she'll go.
And he bows very politely to you, Lyneth, and offers his arm for Riona to take. He is acting the gentleman, but Riona, as you sort of thread your arm through his, you can feel he's like shaking, and he stuffs one hand like into a little pocket on his doublet, so he can like hide his hand, which is like this right now.
Of course.
And he sort of leads you off, and he leads you out of the main hall into a quieter sort of almost like a courtyard in Winterfell. There is like a tree in the middle and some benches around with a big bit of grass, which is now covered in snow. But it's just a very pleasant, quiet area. But you can still see how Stark guards posted around, and servants are kind of walking around. But it is much, much quieter and more peaceful. And the snow is falling, and it's gotten dark now, and the moon is just like, it's like top tier romantic. Like, this is a smooching garden. But he's not making moves. But he very gently and slowly is just walking you around the edge of this little courtyard. How have you been finding the feast so far, my lady?
Oh, the feast has been quite pleasant, although it's far larger than anything I've had at the keep, so it's a little overwhelming, and it's actually nice to have a little look at the surroundings without all the boisterousness.
Yes, this is the first time you've been to Winterfell, is that right?
Yes, it has. Haven't had a chance to come. Family. It's quite the travel.
It is. I mean, I haven't been here since I was a very small boy. It's much smaller than I remembered. But I suppose when you're all of 5 years, everything seems big to you.
Yeah, well, I can see that, but it is quite the place. These trees.
It is.
With the snow.
Makes you wonder how they manage to keep it going, Especially when winter and things get hard. How did they keep this place going? How do they keep it running?
Oh, I imagine it's all the servants. You saw them running around. Quite a few of them.
Oh, yes, they are. Quite the influence they have, isn't it? Funny. I'm sorry if I'm awkward. Sorry.
It's perfectly fine.
Is it because I feel like I'm embarrassing myself here, and I don't want to embarrass you. That's the last thing I want to do is embarrass you. I mean, I've seen how your brother looks at me, and I'm sorry.
I'll give you a little bit of a put your mind at ease. He looks like that at most people.
Well, I suppose. I suppose so. He's a very scary man. I don't know whether you're aware of this, Riona, but he's a very scary man. I'm sure he's lovely, but yes.
Yeah, family are quite fierce. We do have some of that Mormont blood in there too. So you're quite aware of that with the funeral. So fortunately,
yes,
my brother got a little rowdy above. You saw how that went.
I did. I saw your aunt once ride in a tournament. She was fearsome.
Oh, really? I've heard stories. But yeah, I can imagine
Yes.
that she's still quite the intimidating woman.
Yes, well, I said hello, and that was about all I dared say to her. But I digress. Where are you staying? Here. If that's not too bold of me to ask and too presumptive, I'm sorry.
No, we're with the guests on the tents outside Winterfell, the other houses.
He stops walking because you've been very slowly and gently walking around the perimeter, and he sort of pulls away for a second, a look of shock and disbelief across his face. They have you in the tents outside.
Yes. It's how things go.
And he furrows his brow.
I mean, as big as
it's no
this place
secret.
is, you can't fit all the families in here. So, it's how it is, so I wouldn't think further of it.
I mean, it's no secret that House Stark and House Braddock are not exactly best friends. There's a history between the two houses, certainly, but I would never thought that Lord Brynden would be so petty as to put you outside.
Like I said, give it no mind. It's how things work.
It shouldn't be. That's not fair. And his little chin goes up. I will speak to my father. He has the ear of Lord Brynden.
I appreciate it, but we are fine. And we wouldn't want to... I know you worry, but we wouldn't want to further bring to light any sort of implied slight. It just makes things more inflamed. And we are here to mourn and to celebrate with the rest of the houses. And why spoil such a gathering? I mean, this is my first trip here. I wouldn't want to ruffle any feathers.
And he turns to you and he takes your hands in his. Lady Riona, I think and his voice cracks, it's pretty obvious that I think fondly of you, and I would be being remiss in my duty and honor as a lord to see a lady that I care for sleeping in tents outside. So please allow me this honor of raising this with my father.
She gets this look of slight discomfort at this insistence. Well, I appreciate the honor. I really do. And I think fondly of you as well, and your heart is in the right place, but I have been around these things since I was young. Good intentions can sometimes have a way of complicating things. And I do appreciate it. I really do, but we're here to improve relations, and if that means being in the tents, that's perfectly fine. We've brought enough supplies and accoutrements to make it comfortable. And plus, I get to look outside. Just open up the tent and look outside and look at the wonderful landscape.
He sighs and his shoulders kind of drop a little. Very well, if that's what you want. And he kind of leads you into the middle of the courtyard. So it's framed, there's the tree, and then you two are stood before it. The snow is falling down lightly. It's like prime spot. And he looks down and he shuffles his feet a little bit. And he looks up at you and says, I'm finding it very difficult to disagree with you, my lady.
I'll give his arm a squeeze just to know that everything's all right. I appreciate the gesture. I'll take it as it was meant.
But if you do change your mind, my father is very powerful here. And if you change your mind, we will have you in fine accommodations. I bet I could even get you some serving stuff. I would insist on it.
Oh, you'd spoil me. You would spoil me rotten, absolutely. And she'll give a smile and kind of blush a little bit.
I hope that I get the chance to do so. Many times over. And he is very quiet for a moment. He's watching the snow. And you can feel his hands are getting clammy as he's still holding yours. And he turns to look at you. Lady Braddock, I'm going to ask you a question. You can say no. I hope you say yes. But if you do say no, please don't hold it against me.
Go ahead.
And you feel his hands.
Fine. We're not in court.
Yeah, and you're basically alone in this courtyard because, as you know, gods don't exist as people in Westeros. They're just statues in the background. And you feel his hands shake a little as he holds yours. And he looks at you and fixes you with his eyes, which I think I said were blue previously. And he says, "May I kiss you?"
I think at that point she will grab his hand and just lean in and just give him a kiss.
And that is our final shot of the episode as Riona and Roland have a quiet, tender moment in this courtyard as they have a little cute smooch. We zoom out and the snow falls and we see a quiet, peaceful north, which we will return to next week. Thank you all so much for tuning in for this week's For the North. Things are kicking off, friends. Things are kicking off. But what I want to do is just go around everyone and say who we are, where we can find us on the internet, and I would like to know from everyone if you have an idea of what you would like to do next week. If you have an agenda, a jumping off point for your character for next week. Or if you don't have one of those, what was your favorite part of this week? So I'll go to Johnny. Hello, Johnny Blams.
Hello, I'm Johnny Blams. You can find me on all your platforms on the internet as Johnny Blams. Today was awesome. I'm mortified as always leaving, as I am every episode, because I'm like, okay, something terrible is going to happen. I'm waiting for the spinoff of Nymor the Vampire. So if we ever need a season 2, that's a good start for the season. Where I would like to go with Brynden next episode, I think Brynden would want to find, more about this child that ran away, the survivor. And he'd want to question and just get to know him and get to know his story and his life, and maybe that will come back into the mix somehow, some shape or form of another. he'd want to do that, and then just try and make sure that when Big Brother gets back, he did a good job, because not only now does he want to prove that he's a man as well and can serve his house, but now he's also scared that Big Brother might murder him. So it's probably best for Brynden to do a good job and do his little brotherly, lordly like things. But yeah, I had a great time. Thanks for being here, and thank you guys so much for telling the story with us, because this has been great.
Thank you, and I'm so sorry for putting Brynden through such fucking hell. This poor kid, he's just trying to live his best life, and I'm like, ruin. But he will have happiness. I'm going to promise you at least one happy scene that doesn't end in tragedy. At least one.
Great.
But that was your Bane, by the way, from Bash. The weeping
Cool.
tree of blood. So,
Okay, sick.
yes, I just, again, would love to shout out the huge amount of subs we got today from Bash, from Ghosts, from Pope, everyone who participated in our hype train today and gave us some subs. You are all beautiful people. Thank you so much. That was nuts. Okay, so next up we have the wonderful Shauna, who plays Riona.
I have never been so terrified as in that last scene. I realized, like, oh no, I'm probably the last one. It's like, what's happening? What's gonna happen? Oh my! But yeah, that was beautiful. I liked it. Yeah, so I'm Shauna, flying Sirius on Twitter and pretty much every place, Instagram, where I have art and the games I play. And I'm probably gonna be next on Xavier's channel on Wednesday for Blades in the Dark, where I just played the most conniving spider there is. I think most of the group, our gang is afraid of me, and I don't want them to be as afraid of me because no one's talking to me. But yeah, God, I like the way this is going. I don't want to break Periona's heart, and things I like what's happening at the keep. It's great. It's very juicy. It's like, yes, your brother might have murdered a bunch of people and might murder you. Always watch out for the archers. They are trouble. Keep an eye on them.
Yep, every single time. Anyone who has a bow in Westeros, just watch out for him. Freaking Blood Raven. We got Alfred, and after the fire, we had what was her name again? Shit, Adeline. Sorry, names and brains at the minute. Not good. And then we've got freaking Brynden now. All trouble. All of them trouble. So what would Riona like to do next week, Shauna?
I think just continue on this thing of this little like charm offensive to the rest of the houses that Lyneth is kind of is on the lead for. So keep that going.
This charm and harm offensive is happening at the same time, and I cannot wait to see how that goes. Speaking of putting the harm in charm, we have the wonderful Bill of the Forest. Hello, friend.
Hey, yeah, that was an episode. You got to see Brolin try to be a lord and negotiate some good stuff for the house. Failed, but you know, it's a journey. In other stuff, internet, you can find me at Bill of the Forest. Follow all these awesome, beautiful people and role players. But I'm really intrigued at the prospect of potentially, if Brolin ascertains certain information that could lead to a confrontation with John Flint of Flint's Finger, who apparently pissed himself. And yeah, I mean, it's going to cause a stir, if you're going to make a name for yourself as a new lord. I guess a solid fist fight is going to do it. Or more. I don't know. We'll see what the future brings us. And all these accusations of being a murderer. I mean, we'll see what happens if Brolin finds out about that, if he does. But yeah, I mean, let's deep dive into some conspiracy stuff. Let's see what happens. I think we just got off a president who, hashtag fake news, right? So, we don't know what's out there, right? Facts are important. What's one bad dream? It's a dream. So yeah, we'll see what the future holds. There's a lot left to unfurl here.
Okay.
See, what I'm
thank you so
terrified of is that
much.
Bill has me dipped on both. Like out of character, I don't know what Bill's motives are, and now in character, I don't know what Bill's motives are. So it's just a whole. And now he's throwing the fake news thing out there. It's just all sus, guys. I'm terrified. Sorry, Suze. It's getting me.
I promise that we will see much more of Brolin and Lyneth next week. Because we had a little bit of a heavier Nymor and Brynden episode this week, but I feel like there was a lot of juice there to extract. And is the case with the Game of Thrones TV show, right? Some weeks are heavier on someone than the others. But I cannot wait for. I'm thinking it's probably going to go to combat next week, right? John Flint is a bit of a dick. Brolin's looking for a fight. Mormont's looking for a fight. It's the North. So we'll see how it goes. But Prex, that was a good episode. I love verbally sparring with you. Even though I was playing a misogynistic dickhead who was not very good at it, it's still very fun.
Yes, it is. I love it. Thank you, Susie, for indulging me in this. I would like to point out that I did do the family tree history and I looked up everything available on Leo Tyrell. He is actually leader of the commander of the army. He didn't do it well, but he is the commander of the army. And I also want to point out,
it's this funny thing, isn't it, with like Westerosi stories that everyone only remembers the hammer and the anvil from Redgrass,
exactly.
And he was looking to get under your skin. So yeah,
exactly. And I will point out something for our audience. A lot of that. If you notice that what Lyneth does when he tries to get under her skin about Leo to try and make her defend Leo, she changes the conversation. It might be important. But as for me, this was fun. This was so much fun. I love all of you wonderful people. I love all of this. I look forward to seeing what happens next week. Lyneth did promise Brolin he could get into a fist fight as long as he got hit first, which is a very important distinction here, because then it's just self-defense. And I love what's going on with Nymor trying to be a Martell and cause an insurrection. I love it. I also love Brynden. It'll be great. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next week, and I love all of this. But as for me, you can find me online at Deirdre Donlan on Twitter, or PraxicalRathesmia4 to see me around on Twitch. And you can find me next on Friday over on Wandering DM for some Cyberpunk Red. And then on my channel with Trooper in a hack I've written of Swords Chronicle for called The Regiment. But other than that, check my Twitter because I was supposed to where I'm going to be, all the fun things I get to do, all the fun, wonderful, fabulous people like these fine folks that I get to hang out with. And I'll see you next week.
Can I hop in real fast? I forgot to say something.
Yeah.
I wanted to shout out Mythomatic again for making my crown out of iron because he's a blacksmith. So go follow him and say, hey, dope work with the steel. And then right after this, I'll be on LFM_networks, Journey to the Obsidian Spire. If you want to continue indulging in some fantastic roleplay in the D&D 5th edition Dark Sun stuff. And then we'll be getting back to Witcher here with everybody on the left side of your screen here in a week or two on Laugh Love Lindy. Sorry,
I heard that last week on LFM they had a really cool special guest who definitely almost got everyone killed. Anyway, moving
it was
swiftly.
You. It was you.
Me. Anyway, moving on very swiftly from the fact I almost killed two of the principal cast, we move along to Trooper. Hello, Trooper.
Hello, I'm Trooper SJP, and you can find me on the Twitch at Trooper SJP or on Twitter at Academic Foxhole. And what a great episode. What a great episode. I think my favorite was Actually, I just loved everything happening at Winterfell. Although I did want to murder Flint, did want to do that. I didn't though. I was afraid, but I feel like that's just probably going to happen later because that guy, how rude. But that's fine. That's fine. It's fine because he's going to get his in some way that I'm sure will not be bad for our family. Right there in the middle of Winterfell, in front of everyone. I'm sure it will be great. It'll be great. Yeah, that'll be awesome. But I love this. I loved Lyneth winding up Flint, just setting him up for the home run when when Brolin comes in, or an equivalent cricket metaphor, like a whole bunch of wickets, like just all the wickets are gonna be sort of gotten, and Riona and Roland. Just thinking about prophecies, and then also of course I love watching Brolin with Glover. I'm trying to work out their business. I without actually giving the game away, so that was good. I loved it, and of course Brynden, good old emo Brynden. So much goodness. I will just note for the record, again, not planning a coup. Not planning a coup. No coup is being planned. None at all. Buku, no coup. And you can find me on Friday, 1 p.m. over at Love Laugh Lindy for Aether's Walkway, a cyberpunk game, 7 p.m. Eastern over on my channel, Trooper SJP, for City of Light and Shadow, which is a French resistance campaign. And then on Saturday at 8 p.m. over at Prax's channel, The Regiment, which she already told you about. That's me. No coup.
No coup. Definitely. Hashtag no coup.
No coup. And what I want to do next week, really it's going to be just super mellow. I just want to do some research on this mysterious person who's given me feedback, a letter, and just, make sure that Brendan's doing well, make sure the Keep is doing well, just keep everything. And, look, just make sure that people in the Keep think well of Brendan, and then that they see him as competent and kind and warm and friendly, as you would do because you care about people. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you've made it this far in the YouTube video, please do hashtag not a coup in the comments. We would love a not a coup in there. As for me, I am Susie, otherwise known as Susanna Grace. I am a variety streamer. I do video games, I do art streams, I do tabletop RPGs. You can find me all over the internet at Susanna Grace right there. You'll find me on my channel tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, where I play a French outlaw on the run currently because I am wanted for several burglaries and evading law officers in Wild RP, which is Red Dead Redemption 2 roleplay. On Wednesday, you can find me right back here at 3 p.m. Eastern for Shinobigami, which is a modern ninja RPG, and I'm so hyped for. I'm gonna go plus ultra. I'm gonna bust out my shadow clone jutsus. Just you watch. And then on Thursday, you can find me on Follow Black Cats for After the Fire. You know what's up, Johnny, which is another Song of Ice and Fire campaign that I am in. Where I play the rightful true Queen of Dawn, and that's about it from me. But don't forget, later on tonight here, 8 p.m., there is Song of the Deep, so please do come back for that at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on Encounter Roleplay. Until then, we will see you later. Goodbye, friends.